Oh, yeah. Mhm.
All right, good morning. This meeting is called to order. Mr. Troman, has anyone signed up for public comment? Thank you very much. Good morning, Ms. Gonzalez.
Morning.
No cases to reconsider under agenda item 3.
No cases.
Let's consider tax liability cases under agenda item 4. Well, we don't have any, do we, on docket 23?
There are no cases.
How about fair housing cases on agenda item?
No.
5? No. Agenda
Okay.
item 6, we have no wage claim cases on docket 23 pulled for additional discussion.
That is correct. However, there are additional wage claim cases to be voted, and you should have received the short form dissent list.
I move to accept staff recommendations on the remaining wage claim cases on docket 23.
I second the motion, except for those cases of which I'm dissenting as reflected on the wage claim short form dissent list for docket 23.
I concur with the chairman's motion, except for the cases on which I'm dissenting is reflected in the wage claim short form dissent list for docket 23.
Motion passes with the exceptions noted. Let's move to agenda item 7, consideration of unemployment insurance cases on docket 23. Please proceed when you're ready.
Case number 3019014, Commissioner Alvarez.
The decision is not supportable. The employer discharged the claimant for refusing to agree to change to his compensation agreement. The employer eliminated a bonus that had been paid quarterly based on set sale quota instead of implemented a commission that would only have provided payment if sales increased from the prior year. The claimant attempted to ask the employer how sales were expected to increase, but the employer refused to answer and told him to get out while he was using an expletive wording. As the employer was changing the compensation agreement and refused to provide information that the claimant could have used to determine his pay would be decreased, the claimant was justified in not signing the agreement. Reverse AT, no misconduct, chargeback, void, adequate response. Although I believe there is sufficient evidence to qualify the claimant, I could agree to a rehearing to further develop the record regarding claimant's prior pay structure and the employer's new pay structure.
The appeal tribunal decision should be modified. The claimant quit by refusing to sign an updated wage structure. However, the claimant did not try out the new wage structure to see if it would be comparable to his previous wage agreement before quitting. As such, the claimant quit without work-connected good cause. We should therefore modify the AT decision, voluntary leaving, no chargeback, sever the adequate response issue.
Rehear.
We will rehear the case.
Case number 3063092, Commissioner Alvarez.
This case should be remanded to the AT in order to correct 2 errors. First, the AT issued a determination on timeliness without clarifying the method of delivery for agency determination. The case should be remanded to correct that mistake. Second, the claimant's initial statement to the agency clearly indicated that she separated from employment due to an incident of domestic violence in her immediate family. But the hearing notice failed to follow the agency's practice of notifying the parties of the evidence which was acceptable to meet the family violence protection for separations, which is listed in section 207.046 of the Texas Unemployment Compensation Act. Remand this case to appeals to clarify testimony on the method of delivery for the determination at issue and include the family violence requirements in the hearing notice.
We should reverse the appeal tribunal decision. Although the claimant alleged that she failed to receive the determination from the Texas Workforce Commission due to issues with the post office, this argument is flawed. The record reflects that the claimant signed up for the electronic correspondence and timely opened the determination in question. Since the claimant neglected to monitor electronic inbox and thereafter failed to file an appeal within the appeal deadline, the claimant's appeal to the determination should be held untimely. Hence, we should reverse the AT decision, untimely claimant appeal, voluntary leaving.
Remand.
Would you like to do a short form dissent, Commissioner Emerson?
Short form dissent.
Case number 3064184, Commissioner Alvarez.
The AT decision should be reversed. The claimant was discharged because she was unable to submit her ADA paperwork by the employer's deadline. She was not able to secure a medical appointment in time despite her best efforts. The claimant was eventually able to see both her primary care physician and specialist. The claimant kept her supervisor informed of the situation. As the claimant provided documentation indicating that she was not yet released back to work by her doctor until several days after the date that the employer demanded her to return, the claimant was discharged for reasons other than misconduct connected with the work. Reverse the AT, no misconduct, and bill reimburse an employer, void adequate response.
We should modify the appeal tribunal decision. Although the claimant was aware of the process for submitting her ADA paperwork, she failed to submit the documents in the requisite time period. This led to the closure of her claim. Thereafter, the claimant was notified that since her claim was closed, she was required to return to work or face termination. Although the claimant alleged that she didn't return to work because of instructions from her doctor, the record suggests that the claimant did not present the employer with the requisite medical statements until after her termination. Since the claimant failed to submit her ADA documentation or clarify her doctor's statements prior to her separation, the claimant's conduct constituted mismanagement of her position of employment and was misconduct connected with the work. Therefore, we should modify the AT decision, misconduct, reimburse an employer not billed, sever the adequate employer response issue.
Rehear to further develop the record on whether the claimant was provided sufficient time to return to work or supply medical documentation.
We do not currently have a majority vote. Mr. Chairman, your vote was to rehear, correct?
I would agree to rehear.
Thank you. We will rehear the case.
Case number 3108799, Commissioner Alvarez.
Correction. The AT decision should be modified. Regarding timeliness, the claimant testified that he was unable to use the agency system due to identity verification hold that prevented him from access to the system. The identity verification notice had been placed on his account on September 12, 2021, the same date of the initial claim. Despite numerous attempts to contact the agency to verify his identity, the claimant was not able to do so until January 20, 2022. Because the agency's identity verification issues prevented the claimant from accessing the agency's systems, his appeal should be deemed timely. Regarding ability, the claimant testified that he had been hospitalized with COVID prior to the date of his initial claim, but he notified the agency that he was subsequently able to work as of September 25th, 2021. Therefore, the ineligibility should be closed on that date. Modify the AT, timely claimant appeal, claimant not able to work from September 12th, 2021 to September 25th of 2021.
We should find the claimant's appeal timely and resubmit for merits testimony.
Affirm the AT untimely claimant appeal, claimant not able to work from September 12, 2021 through January 1st, 2022.
We have a majority vote on the timeliness issue. However, we do not have a majority vote on the underlying issue. Commissioner Emerson.
I agree with the chairman.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to agree with the chairman.
Okay. Thank you.
Short form dissent.
Thank you.
Case number 3118267, Commissioner Emerson.
We should reverse the appeal tribunal decision. The claimant was discharged after verbal altercation with the customer, during which the customer directed derogatory remarks at the claimant. The claimant responded by telling the customer that he got off work in 15 minutes and for the customer to wait for him outside. While I do not condone the customer's action, the claimant's comments constituted an implied threat of violence. Thus, because the claimant directed a threat at a customer in violation of the employer's policy, the claimant mismanaged his position of employment. We should reverse the AT decision, misconduct, no chargeback, adequate employer response.
The AT decision should be affirmed. The claimant was discharged from his position as a sales representative at an auto parts store for allegedly threatening a customer. The claimant denied the allegation in sworn testimony, and the employer did not provide a firsthand witness to the final incident. The customer had used expletives while calling the claimant derogatory names. The claimant's statement to the customer that the customer used whatever phrase he wanted when the claimant got off of work was not a hostile comment that violated the employer's policies. The record reflects that the claimant appropriately handled a hostile customer, and the employer did not provide correction, and the employer did not prove misconduct. Affirm the AT, no misconduct, chargeback.
Affirm the AT, no misconduct, chargeback.
Short form dissent.
I have your short form dissent.
Case number 3119744, Commissioner Demerson,
We should modify the AT decision. First, I do not contest that the claimant filed a valid claim. Concerning the job separation, the claimant was discharged when the employer discovered that he had falsified service records on his resume. The falsification of records resulted in the claimant being paid on a higher pay scale with the employer. Although the claimant alleged that the falsification of records was unintentional, this argument is flawed. The record shows that the claimant, in multiple documents submitted at various times, had repeatedly falsified his service records. Since the record suggests that the claimant had repeatedly misinformed the employer about his service records in violation of the employer's known policy, the claimant's conduct constituted mismanagement of his position of employment and was misconduct connected with the work. Hence, we should modify the AT decision. Valid claim, misconduct, overpayment of $1,647, void the reimbursement issue.
The decision is correct. The claimant's application incorrectly stated he worked for a prior employer for a longer period than he had. The claimant was unaware of the inaccuracy and had not intended to mislead the employer. The claimant's error was not intentional and not misconduct connected with the work. Affirm the AT valid claim, no misconduct, no overpayment, void reimbursement ruling.
Modify the AT, valid claim, misconduct, overpayment, void reimbursement ruling.
Short form dissent.
I have your short form dissent.
case number 3124592, Commissioner Demerson,
We should reverse the appeal tribunal decision on timeliness. The employer credibly and persuasively testified that it did not receive the determination in question. The employer learned that it was being charged for benefits when it received a quarterly bill from TWC. Thus, because the employer did not receive the determination, we should deem the employer's appeal timely and resubmit the case for merits testimony.
The AT decision is supportable. The employer should be familiar with UI procedures, and they therefore would have been aware that the determination for this claimant should have been forthcoming. They nevertheless waited 10 months to file an appeal. The employer did not establish non-receipt of the determination by credible or persuasive evidence. Affirm the AT late employer appeal, no misconduct, chargeback.
Reverse the AT, timely employer appeal, resubmit.
We will resubmit the case.
case number 3125513, Commissioner Alvarez,
The AT decision is correct. The claimant's assignment ended on October 21st of 2021. The claimant contacted the employer 2 weeks later in November of 2021 and asked for another assignment. The employer told her they would call her back. A month later, and without having received an additional assignment, the claimant filed a claim for benefits. The employer testified they did not provide an assignment to the claimant until December 23rd of 2021, which was after they received the notice of the claim for benefits. The claimant was laid off when the employer failed to provide her with another assignment. Modify the AT, no misconduct, chargeback, sever validity of claim.
We should modify the appeal tribunal decision. First, I agree that the validity of claim issue may be severed. As to the job separation, under the home health care precedent, the employment relationship continues until either party clearly notifies the other that the employment relationship has ended. Here, when the claimant's assignment ended, the employment relation continued. However, by filing an unemployment claim, the claimant severed the employment relationship and initiated the job separation. Because the claimant is considered to have quit without good cause connected with the work, we should modify the AT decision, voluntary leaving, no chargeback, adequate employer response, sever the validity of claim issue.
Modify the AT, no misconduct, chargeback, sever validity of claim.
Short form dissent.
I have your short form dissent.
case number 3134041, Commissioner Alvarez,
The AT decision should be modified. Regarding the separation, the record reflects that the claimant was discharged for reasons other than misconduct. The claimant had informed the employer that he was seeking a new job, but he did not quit or provide any notice of resignation. The employer removed the claimant from the schedule and hired a replacement in anticipation of the claimant's resignation. But the claimant did not quit, and seeking a new job is not misconduct. Modify the AT valid claim, no misconduct, chargeback.
We should affirm the appeal tribunal decision. First, I agree that the claimant filed a valid claim. As to the job separation, by informing the employer that he was in the last phase of the hiring process for the new job, the claimant gave the employer the reasonable impression that he was quitting. By quitting for another job that did not materialize, the claimant is considered to have quit without good cause connected with the work. We should affirm the AT decision, valid claim, voluntary leaving, no chargeback.
Modify the AT valid claim, no misconduct, chargeback.
Short form dissent.
I have your short form dissent.
Case number 313-7357, Commissioner Demerson.
We should modify the appeal tribunal decision. First, I agree that the employer filed a timely appeal. Concerning the job separation, the claimant was separated when he failed to meet the employer's sales target. The claimant in his sworn testimony alleged that his inability to meet the employer's expectations resulted from the COVID-19 pandemic, where he had limited access to potential clients. Since the claimant provided sworn testimony that his separation was a direct result of the COVID-19 pandemic, we should modify the AT decision. Timely employer appeal, no misconduct, no chargeback, disaster, and void the adequate employer response issue.
Ms. Gonzalez, I would agree with Commissioner Demerson.
Agreed.
We have a unanimous decision. That is the last case, pulled case for docket 23. You should have the short form dissent list for the remaining cases to be voted.
I move we accept staff recommendations on the remaining UI cases on docket 23.
I second the motion, except for those cases of which I'm dissenting as reflected on UI short form dissent list for docket 23.
I concur with the chairman's motion, except for the cases on which I'm dissenting as reflected in the UI short form dissent list for docket 23.
Motion passes with the exceptions noted. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right, what else do we have left on this agenda? Mr. Cerna, is there an executive director's report?
Sorry for the, what we'll call out of cycle executive director's report, but there's several things I want to make sure that you all were aware of before time got away from us. First off, I wanted to make sure that the commission knew that I'd be providing written responses or written comments to Department of Labor rule regarding employment services staff and staffing. Make sure that your offices each get a copy of the written responses that I provide when we submit those responses. So that's going to be forthcoming. These are rules that DOL had originally taken up prior to the pandemic, and then they were suspended, and now they're taking them back up again. We've sought input from stakeholders, so we'll be including that. Second, Commissioner Alvarez, you had a request to us last week to use unused TANF funds for 2 education outreach specialists in Middle Rio. I'm pleased to report that conversations that we've had with the board executive director, Betty Cifuentes. Ms. Cifuentes has indicated that they have unexpended TANF funds and will be bringing on board 2 education outreach specialists. So we won't have to take any action at state level to support them in that effort. We will, of course, support them through Lori Knight's team's efforts to give the two new hires information and other things that they need, and we'll continue to support that board, but we don't have to expend any unused statewide TANF dollars for that. So I believe that's being taken care of per the commission's request.
Ed,
Yes, sir.
Will those positions be under Lori or directly to the, report directly to the board?
They'll report directly to the board. They'll be under Ms. Fuentes.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Ed, can I ask another thing? When
Yes, sir.
two things that I think I referenced, and first of all, I want to thank you for working so closely with Ms. Fuentes on this initiative. And I appreciate the fact that they're going to be using their reserve TANF dollars. A couple of things that I did highlight last week. One was preferably if we could hire individuals from the community as outreach specialists, those that can speak both English and Spanish would be preferred, right? And those that are familiar with the demographics and just the people in general. And then the other one was what I thought was the most important was that these individuals that work as outreach specialists are familiar and really kind of focus on dropout recovery. I mean, dropout recovery is going to be key to the success of this program. As we know, that was certainly an issue. And even though there's a low percentage of people that have dropped out of high school or school in that area, just by the research we've done, it's still something that needs to be addressed. So I appreciate that.
We'll make sure that we can convey that to Ms. Fuentes, but I think that that's
Mhm.
probably already something that she wants to do, especially hiring local in the community and of
Thank
course
you.
with the skills to be bilingual.
And thank you for all you've done, Ed. She was
Yes, sir.
very complimentary on the work you've done there.
I appreciate that. The third thing is the request that the chairman had given us some time ago, given me some time ago to look at having commission meetings out of Austin. Staff considered some alternatives and considering that that this upcoming year is a legislative year, we're going to recommend 2 out-of-town commission meetings. The first will be if the commission agrees to this, the first will be at our annual conference in December, early December in Dallas. And the second will be after the legislative session, and we'll work with the offices to determine a location for that, but it'll probably be in some rural part of the state, because I think the request from the commission was to have a mix of urban and rural. So we'll look for the second one to be in a rural location, but the first will be at our annual conference. We've already got facilities and everything set up, so we'll get that on the calendar and get that posted as well, if that's acceptable to the commission.
So am I correct that the one that we had scheduled, that we had discussed in September while we had the apprenticeship summit, that one's been rescheduled?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
We
that's
won't have
fine.
that one. We're just going to have the 2.
Okay.
And then the last thing that I wanted to share was at last week's Texas Digital Government Summit hosted by Government Technology Magazine. TWC won 2 Best in Texas awards. The first was for Best Workforce or Workplace Innovation using technology and innovation to advance equal employment and fair housing. Our Civil Rights Division received an award for their significant move, working with IT for their significant move to a paperless information flow. So we're very proud of Brian and his work. And then second, we received the Excellence in Project Management. Thomas Beckley in our IT shop was recognized for his innovative use in implementing a combination of web-based version of Microsoft Project and Power Builder to build project dashboards. So we're very pleased that we won 2 of the Best in Texas awards, one for an individual and one for division's efforts. And I just wanted to report that to the commission as well. And other than that, I'll answer any questions that the commission may have, but I just wanted to make sure that you knew about those, especially the ES comments and the follow-up on the education outreach specialist.
Thank you, Mr. Cerna. Any comments or questions?
Regarding that, no. Thank you, Ed.
I wanted, in regards to the board meeting being held at the annual conference, are we looking at docket and policy?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We'll have both a docket and
And
policy.
we already have a date that's been considered?
It'll probably be the Tuesday of the annual conference, because our conference starts on Wednesday.
Okay.
But there are events that go on Monday and Tuesday, including TOB and EDC
Right.
and some of our VR. So it'll probably be on a Tuesday, and we're thinking Tuesday afternoon to give the commissioners and staff time to get there for the commission meeting.
Okay. All right. The sooner we have those dates and times, it'll allow us to kind of work out our schedules.
Yes,
as
sir.
well,
We'll have the
'cause that's
specific
that's
date and time here
busy
probably
week.
before the week is up.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree, because I know during that time we meet with various people there, and so I'm sure room assignments will be designated where we're going to
Yes,
have
sir.
all this. Will it be on-site or off-site? What do you think?
No, it'll be where the conference is
Perfect.
located. So we'll already be at the facility.
Perfect. Love it. That's all regarding that, Chairman.
All right, thank you, Mr. Cerna.
The only other thing I'd like to add, Chairman, if it's okay, is I was sadly informed last week that Clay was going to retire, so I wanted to acknowledge that. I think we're all going to miss you, Clay. My 6 years that I've been here, it's been a privilege to work with you. I really mean it. And I really appreciate your leadership, and especially during the pandemic. So I was saddened to read the text or the email last week, but I certainly wish you well. And if I may, Chairman, I'd like to introduce two people at this time that just joined our office. One of them is Jade Ibarra, who's here from Austin. She comes to us from TDCJ. So we're glad to have Ms. Ibarra here working with us, Jade. And then, of course, we have our new intern that I wanted to recognize. She's from Edinburgh, Texas, undergraduate from the Rio Grande Valley, going to law school at Texas Tech. We're excited to that. And she was the legislative director for State Representative Bobby Guerra. So welcome aboard to both of you.
The world needs more Red Raiders. I have discovered. And it's good to have one from Edinburgh. I went to school with a guy from Roma undergrad. He used to make that drive all the time. It's a little ways from the valley. But I think you'll find Texas Tech to be quite good. And tell me again, what's your classification there? 2L. So have you come across a 1L student named Emily Daniel? Do you know her? Okay, I want to talk to you after this meeting.
So I also want you to know, for the record, she'll be preparing all our cases from now on. So let's see how we do. So let's see if it's true what they say about Red Raiders. We all stick together. Right?
I think in your office, you know all about Red Raiders, Commissioner.
I know, I'm full of them.
Following Commissioner Alvarez, I would like to introduce Arlene Smith, who's trying to hide behind Kim back here. She's working in our office this summer. I love the summer intern season. So many new faces up on the 6th floor, and it sort of reminds you of what it's like to kind of charge into something brand new, and it's a lot of fun. So we're glad Arlene's here. We're glad all the interns are here.
Chairman, comments. I want to echo Commissioner Alvarez's comments about Clay. A bittersweet message that we received with that text. But Clay, thank you for all the work that you've done. I've shared that both publicly and privately. You guys, during the pandemic, you'll have memories that mean a lot, because you guys really came through in big ways during the pandemic. And so thank you for all the work that you've done there. I too also want to thank Ed and the team for our Texas Interns Unite initiative that we kicked off yesterday. Supported the chairman and Commissioner Alvarez in those efforts as well. Press conference that really brought together employers, future employees, talented pipeline of individuals, and wanted to thank the team. That Angela, thank you for your work in that regard, especially with the communications team, the work and the efforts that were put forward there. I too want to introduce our two interns. We have Josh Paul, University of Houston student, and we also have Alejandro Perez, a UTSA student as well, two sharp individuals that are going to do some great work on our team. Delighted to have them here. And this Friday, we're going to be kicking off our first event that's a virtual summit in collaboration with the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. It's going to be a virtual summit at 10 o'clock. So go to Texas Interns Unite to register for that event. And we'll kick it from there and do something in July and September, but that's more details to come as well. But Texas Interns Unite, that's where we want to go for these activities. And again, thank you guys for the support.
Thank you. All right, I still see some unfamiliar faces in the crowd. Are there more interns in here today? You know what? You don't get the benefit of one of us introducing you, so you're gonna have to stand up and introduce yourselves. So let's just work our way around the room.
That's a great idea, Chairman. That's a great idea.
So I can start. Clay, you take the honors.
Mr. Chairman.
Wonderful. Uh-huh. I am very glad they're on board. And I'm so pleased you got an opportunity to get your horns up into the conversation. Let me understand this. You left New Orleans for the summer to come to Austin.
Mhm.
Okay, all right, that explains so much.
Awesome.
Wonderful. Welcome aboard. Anybody else? I want to leave anybody out. I didn't neglect talking about Clay. I was going to save all my comments for whatever happy hour Mr. Cerna hosts for him later this summer in recognition of his retirement.
We're gonna have it much later.
Yeah. And I'm reserving all my comments until
We
that
don't want him
time.
to have that long of a.
I want him to think about all the things I'm going to say for the rest of the summer. So, especially after that horns up comment. Is there
Yeah.
any other order of business to come before the commission today?
Mr.
None
Chairman-
here, Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, I see one more person back there with Julie. I'm not sure if that's an intern or. Not bad at all.
Congratulations to all of you. So exciting to see all new faces here. You guys are the future of this great state of ours. And someday all three of us, I hope we all know that one of you we'd love to see all three of you someday taking our places. I mean, that's really our goal, is to have you all the next commissioners of this Texas workforce, this great agency that we all represent. So welcome aboard.
I mean, I'd swap places with one of them right
Right,
now.
yeah.
I'd love to be an intern again. That would be awesome.
Just a reminder that our intern is doing all our cases, Chairman.
Anything else, guys?
Raise your bar.
None here.
Is there a motion to
Before I
adjourn?
second, we
Yes, sir.
did have Syracuse Orangeman cookies up here. Thank you, Julie, for those Syracuse Orangeman cookies. Second the motion.
I move that we adjourn.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. We're adjourned.